So, lads, today we watched what was, I'm sorry, one of the weirdest YouTube video announcement things I have ever seen. And I'm sorry, Unrivaled. Whoever you have as your social media admins, get new ones. Get new ones. Like, we've seen the Unrivaled social media team liking anti-Caitlin Clark posts. We've seen them liking posts about Caitlin Clark being the next player to be announced in the league. And now we saw what was one of the dumbest YouTube things I've ever seen. So, if you guys don't know how YouTube works, if you set a video to an instant premiere, the video starts when you've set it and it counts down 2 minutes. And they obviously wanted it to last till 11:22. So you want to know what they did instead? Instead of putting a premiere so that people had to watch the entirety of the video and then at 11:22 it would finish, they released a 22-minute long video for no reason. And for some reason, started it with a timer. So, yeah, there is a random timer for no reason. For absolutely no reason. There is a random timer now counting down for the first 2 minutes of this video. So any new people watching in, there is a timer for 2 minutes. Like, what is the point? What is the actual point? And then, as well as like that, first of all, that's just bad on whoever the social media person is, not knowing how YouTube works. They've obviously hired a videos edited well, things are produced well. They've hired somebody to manage their YouTube channel that has no idea about how the platform works, which is ideal, absolutely ideal for a league like this. And then, obviously, the mystery player was ridiculous. Like, why? You see wildcard here. Actually, maybe you guys can't see it, to be fair. Even if I make this full screen, it's probably hard to see the wildcard. But they added in 2 mystery players. I'm like, why? And then, if you guys watch this, if you guys looked at the pods, for some reason, Diarra Hamby's a center, and Aaliyah Boston's a power forward. Like, what? You put Aaliyah Boston, you're trying to make like for likes, and you put Satu and Aaliyah Boston in the same tier? Like, what? That doesn't make sense. And then throughout this whole thing, all they talk about is, this team needs vet leadership and, like these talking about players in certain ways. What are they on about? This is 3-on-3 basketball. I'm sorry, like they're talking about how it's like, oh, they're able to look at how they're able to manipulate the pick and roll. And I'm like, what difference does that make in 3-on-3 basketball? Teams will switch any competent team will switch everything. Like, any good team in this league is going to switch every single pick and roll because you can't hedge a pick and roll in 3-on-3. You can't fight through a pick and roll in 3-on-3. You have to switch the pick and roll. And that's the problem with 3-on-3 is that if you can't switch the pick and roll, you're kind of screwed. You're kind of screwed if you have guys that you can't switch the P&R with the reality of 3-on-3 game, but they don't seem to know. They don't seem to care. This entire video, and by the way, this is a really, really well-produced video, by the way. Like, I'm not gonna disagree with that. It is a well-produced video. But, like, you've got all the coaches talking. Every single thing they're talking about is 5v5 basketball. It's about 5v5 basketball. It's about how their games translate to 5v5. Nothing to do with 3v3. And, to be fair, I don't think the teams they picked were that unfair, especially depending on who the mystery players are going to be. But at the same time, they picked the teams. And these were the teams. Lexi Hull, Kate Martin was on this team, I think. And then there was a mystery player on this team. And they literally said, and they were like, okay, are we happy? And it was like, after 30 minutes, like this was the team in general. We let coaches deliberate on their choices for 30 minutes. So what choice did they make? So they're like, oh, we let them deliberate on their choice for 30 minutes. No, they just randomly made it up. So 30 minutes of discussing, should we change these people? Should we do a bunch of things? The only 2 changes they made is they swapped Lexi Hull and Kate Martin. 2 of the most irrelevant players in pot 6. The least pot, like, let's be real, the worst pot of players. They put them with that in the Ray Burrell pot of players. They swapped them for mystery players. So basically, you know what? We'll take Kate Martin. Kate Martin better than Kate Martin over is Kate Martin better than a player that may or may not exist? Let's debate. Should we swap Kate Martin for a player that doesn't exist? Should we swap Lexi Hull for a player that doesn't exist? Like, that's realistically all they did. And they were like, we let them discuss 30 minutes. And then it was just changing, like, Lexi Hull and Kate Martin. They're like, oh, everything else, we've got all this other stuff. And then it's just, yeah, let's put Kate Martin on a different team. And let's put Lexi Hull in a different team. And I'm like, come on. Come on now. That is just filler for filler's sake. And then there's another, like, couple of minutes giving their coaches their teams. And they made sure as hell that it's, 22 minutes long. But they released it as a 22-minute long video instead of just a 20-minute long video that ends at 11:22. Just so that they could put in the Caitlin Clark hint. Like, why? Like, I clicked onto it and I'm like, oh, this is a video. And I saw it instead of a premiere. And I saw the 2-minute count and I'm like, let me just skip through. Like, let me just skip through this video until we can see the teams. We don't need to wait 22 minutes. We can see the teams in 10 seconds by just skipping through. But, yeah, this was one of the worst produced videos I have ever seen. Like, it was laughable. Because the funny thing is like, the coaches' discussion, the picking the teams, all of this stuff was fine. And then you're like, by the end of it, it's like, what is... How... Like, it genuinely looks like they spent a whole bunch of money. And then the most important thing, which is somebody that knows how to, like, make a YouTube video and not a TV show, knows what way to structure it to make it work on YouTube, just was like, yeah, nah, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. And the 30-minute deliberation to say, Kate Martin, we're gonna swap Kate Martin and Lexi Hull. It's like 30 minutes to try and make the teams even, and try to make the teams, I don't know, maybe so that you don't have the super team with Stewie. We can make one of these changes. Nah, we're all good. We're all good with the, like, some super teams. Like, Angel Reese's team really sucks. We're gonna swap, like, Lexi Hull. We're gonna swap Lexi Hull. Like, the team of... There is genuinely a team that has Breanna Stewart, Dejanay, Jewel Lloyd, Rakia Jackson, and Aaliyah Edwards on it. And they can just run up and down. And then all the talk about every one of these players' skills, and it's every single thing they say is based on 5v5 basketball. I'm sorry. Whichever team runs up and down the fastest wins. I'm not joking. This is full court 3-on-3. Whichever team sprints up and down faster than the other team is going to win the most games. It is as simple as that. And all these coaches talking about, oh, these players are going to be dominant on the inside. Man, what difference does that make? It doesn't make a difference how dominant Brittany Griner is on the inside if Dearica Hamby could just run faster than her down the floor and guarantee the 2 points in every single possession. It's like the likelihood is the game is going to pass all these bigs by. This is going to be guard, chuck. And whichever team just runs up and down fast is going to win. That's the reality of it.